Welcome to Inner Peace Better Health. I'm your host, Saima, and tonight's guest is the brilliant Stacie Shifflett, founder and CEO of Modern Consciousness, best-selling author and the heart of behind the Elevate Your Life method and the Tracer Map of Joy. Stacie isn't just about talking about healthy minds, she's helping people leave them. Her work is about shifting from burnout to brilliance, chaos to clarity, and autopilot to aligned purpose. Now, if you've ever felt like life's running you instead of the other way around, this is your wake up call to elevate. Stacy, modern conscious is such a powerful phrase. So, what does it really mean to live with a healthy, elevated mind today?
Well, part of our discussion, I guess, is spirituality, and the whole idea for this business came to me through medication and or meditation. Maybe I need some medication for this shoulder of mine.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really conscious living in the modern world, right? So we have all of these modern stressors. And that's really what it's all about. It's about centering into awareness, right? Being fully aware and gaining clarity and perspective. One of the things that I often say, and I truly do believe this, is that peace of mind is our greatest personal asset. And achieving that, the prerequisite for that is knowledge, but it's actually applying the knowledge in a very practical way in your life.
Mm-hmm. So, do you think that most people are aware of how unconscious they are operating on a daily basis?
I always hate to just use the term unconscious. I think all of us have a lot of unconscious or subconscious programming. It just kind of goes with how we evolve, right? I have four aspects to my theory of modern conscious. And the first of that is what I call an automaton 2.0. And it really is a foundational stage. And that's often where we get the wake up call when we begin feeling frustrated, or we have that little voice in our head that says, I've done everything that I've been told I need to do to be happy and fulfilled, and yet I am not. And it's really about recognizing the potential for transformation. So I don't look at it as a negative. I actually look at it as a foundation of conscious evolution. But we have to proactively move out of that aspect of consciousness to really wake up our lives and begin to realize that there's so much more available to us than what we're currently experiencing.
That's such a needed mirror, Stacy, that sometimes the first breakthrough is just realizing we have been asleep at the wheel, right?
Yeah, there's not any other way for us to be initially, because we come into this world helpless, and we are completely reliant upon everyone around us, right? Our families, we go to institutions for school, for our religious activities. And so we start with nothing, and then we inherit all of this information and all of these beliefs. And it's and I will say this, there are more conscious parents probably today than there ever have been, thanks to a consciousness awakening that really is worldwide. But it's just kind of the way it is, right? And we follow, we just follow the path that we have been brought up to believe that we need to follow. And oftentimes our independence isn't really appreciated. Like, I was called stubborn a lot when I was little and growing up,
Mm-hmm.
because I always sort of had to do things my own way. Um, and we evolve over time, and we forget that something in this season of our life may be different, right? our values and the balance that we want in life, for example, might be a little bit different after we have children, or after our children grow and, leave the nest, right? And we're empty nesters, or after a divorce, or any other sort of trauma or catastrophe that we experience in life. So I think as we evolve over time, a lot of people still find themselves executing against beliefs and decisions that they have held for probably decades, without ever really stopping to say, gosh, is this serving me and what I want to be experiencing in life today?
I completely agree with that. Now, you created the treasure map to joy. So, how did that idea come to life and what makes it so transformational?
Well, I have done, oh my gosh, I can't tell you how much money I have invested in personal development. I went through a divorce. I've had a few traumas in my lifetime. My first child, my first son died, so I had to navigate that. That was years and years ago. And then in 2012, which is years ago now, I went through a divorce. So after 28 years of marriage, so the life that I thought that I would be living vanished overnight. It wasn't even anything that could be repaired, or it just was gone, right? So it took me a while to adjust to that, for sure. Probably about 2 years of thinking I was doing everything right. I found a home for myself and my son, and I had a business that I was running at the time that was doing well. And I ramped up my social life, et cetera. And I thought I was doing everything I was supposed to be doing, but I was still holding on to anger and resentment. And I finally sat myself down one day and I was like, Stace, everything you've created in your life, you have created, right? I have taken the actions to do that. And that's not to say that I didn't have people nurturing or mentoring me along the way, but I realized I was just kind of floating downstream, if you will, bumping into rocks or logs or whatever was in my way. And I wasn't being deliberate about what I wanted to create in my future. I thought it would just organically manifest itself. And it doesn't. We have to take what I call right action at this point, to create what we want in our lives. So that's when I, in earnest, set about learning all about things that I had never learned before, right? So I really got into personal development and spirituality and energetic healing, and, learning about quantum physics and the biology of belief. I think that's Bruce Lipton's book. And, I just became a magnet and absorbed all of this information. And so what I have done is taken everything that I have learned along the way from others, and also everything that I just have learned throughout my lifetime. And I'm an analyst at heart. So I created a program called Elevate Your Life, in which I work with my clients to chart their treasure map to joy. And sometimes that's a major shift, and sometimes it's just a shift in our mindset and perspective that helps us see things a little bit differently, that can create that inner peace. So that's the process that I guide people through with my program.
That really flips the script that joy isn't found, it's uncovered, it's already in us, right?
Yes, it is. And I start everybody, something that we're not taught. Um, we assess and we evaluate so many things in our life routinely, right? We get the car serviced, we go to our annual medical physical, we look at grades, we look at the performance of our company, we look at our balances, our bank balances. but we're never really taught to sit down and do a full life assessment, looking at all of, I call them the rich dimensions of our lives, right? To look at it all together and see how it is, they're all influencing each other. And oftentimes we tend to think, oh, I have this problem and it's just this area of my life. And it really isn't. It's in other areas of your life too, but it disguises itself. So just like the body is all connected, right? Our inner lives and how we function in our outer lives, our external lives, it's also all connected with everything influencing each other. So I start everybody with a full life assessment.
Absolutely, that completely makes sense, Tracy. So, what does a truly healthy mind look or feel like feel to you?
I think it really comes down to changing your default emotion. For me, and being present, also just being present in every moment of your life, fully present. So, whereas you run into many, many people who their default emotion is stress, it's anxiety, it's worry. Um, my default emotion is joy and acceptance generally. Even in hardship, we have to, it's life. Life gets hard. Things are going to happen. Um, and we certainly have to process those emotions. Just like grief when my mom died. But we could process that in a healthy way. And I think when we understand more about emotions and the emotions that we experience when we go through things like this, it allows space to process that, but also allow space for rest and possibility and comfort and peace, all of the good emotions as well. So I like to live life from a default of joy. I could be at the
So, are
grocery
there any
store and be
daily
joyful.
Oh, that's admirable, Stacy. So, are there any? It's really thought, the world would be such a joyous place if everyone would start thinking like you.
It's so funny because I've got an assistant, so we'll go to the grocery store sometimes together, and she's like, "You're always so happy, and you're dancing to the music, and you're smiling, and you're looking for what you want to buy." Because I love to cook too, right? So and she, on the other hand, has always got her head down, and she's focused on, I need this, and I've got to get this done because I've got this other task to do, and so she's always focused on what's ahead of her. In the back of my mind, I know what's ahead of me. I know if I have a meeting later that day or a podcast scheduled or what have you, but I'm fully present in the moment, enjoying it. And one of the most remarkable things is she has started applying that to simple things like being at the grocery store or, looking at people and smiling and saying hello and asking a person that might have some physical challenges or is, older and slower as we get, if he would like help, to put his cart back. And, she comes back to work and she's like, it's just amazing, right? When we are present and enjoying what we're doing, regardless of what that is, it creates more joy in us. And when we're joyful, we spread more joy to the world.
Mm-hmm. That's really admirable, Tracy. So, are there any daily tools or rituals you use to stay aligned and resilient?
I do. I try to take quiet time most every day, and that can be meditation. And meditation isn't necessarily sitting on a mat. I typically like to get in a recumbent. I generally like to lay down. I will relax my body. I will quiet my mind. I usually set an intention at the beginning for something that I might be working on or I need an idea. If I don't have something specific, I'll just throw it up to the universe and say, "Hey, whatever, I'm open and willing to receive whatever you think is most important for me to receive today." And then I just rest. Sometimes I don't listen to any music at all. I just close my eyes and concentrate on my breathing. Sometimes I might, there's so many resources available to us on the internet. Like I love to do a sound bath. There's thousands of them on YouTube. So I think it's taking that quiet time. But the other thing that really has developed for me in the last, oh gosh, it's been, I guess, over a decade now, is tuning in to that little voice. Our little voice, our higher selves, the universe, whatever you want to call it, speaks to us all the time. Oftentimes we miss it because we're busy and we're focused on, what we're doing or the next task or the next task. And so I'm very keen on listening to that little voice and noticing when it says something to me and then acting upon it. If I can't right then at the moment, honest to God, I have the app Otter on my phone, and I will make a recording, right? I'll just record a little note to myself, or I'll send myself an email and say, "Oh my gosh, this is awesome. I need to remember this," and then I'll come back to it when I can dedicate more time to it.
That sounds like freedom, mental fitness that's rooted in self-compassion and consistency, right?
Yes, yes. I could give you a good example of that. I was coming back on a flight a few months ago from an event in Beverly
Mm-hmm.
Hills, and I had a movie on, and all of a sudden, I haven't published it yet, but it will be coming out. But all of a sudden, I started receiving a download for a modern consciousness manifesto. And the thoughts that were coming in were so powerful that I cut the movie off. I grabbed my notebook and I just started writing everything down. And it was a very, very powerful experience. And it's all about conscious living, right? And sinking into our values and the kind of people that we want to be and the kind of people that will lift this world up. And I didn't know what to do with it. So I brought it home. I knew it was important. I brought it home and I did go to the effort of typing my notes up, right, to get them into the computer. And then I kind of set it aside. And a couple of weeks ago, I was meditating and taking a rest. I recently had surgery. So my breast has been enjoying some naps while I, imagine my shoulder doing everything that I want it to do in life, being able to kayak again or
Mm-hmm.
whatever. So when
Mm-hmm.
I came out of the quiet time that I had set aside for myself, the first words that came to my mind were, "It is time." And I knew immediately when I heard those words what it meant. I knew it meant that it was time now to go work on that manifesto. And I am indeed working on that with my team right now, and we will be adding that to the website. And I don't want to say a marketing, it's not really a marketing campaign because I'm not selling anything with that. But an awareness campaign about that we will be offering through my business, Modern Consciousness.
That's indeed a powerful one, Stacy. Now,
Yeah,
for
it's a
someone
mission.
stuck in the treadmill life, hmm now, for someone who is stuck in the treadmill life, what's the first step towards building their own treasure map to joy?
I really think that we gain the most benefit if we first sit down and look at all of the domains of our life and really assess where they are. And that is module 1 in my program. And in my program, I have a very structured process for that, that asks the questions that will guide you to the answers. And because a lot of times we don't know the questions to ask ourselves, right? So I have a process for that, and I really think it is sitting down and looking at each of the domains in our life and recognizing where our frustrations are and why we think we're frustrated and what's causing that and who's causing that. And I also think it's super, super important to also focus on what's going well, what we love about each area of our life, and what's bringing us joy and what's bringing us fulfillment. People often only focus on what's wrong, right? Not what's right. So I like to look at both. And I really think that, you can't chart a path forward. If you get in the car and you want to go somewhere on your navigation system, you have to have your starting point in order to get the directions to where you want to go. So that's why I think that is so very important, because you can't chart a path forward unless you have clarity on where you are today. At least that is my opinion on it, and it's how it works for me. I think really gaining clarity on what you're experiencing, not only what you're succeeding at, right? A lot of times we put it in external terms, but what we're experiencing and how we feel about each area of our life. How is it making us feel? How is each impacting and influencing the others? Why do we think that is? And then from there, we move to the next piece, which is okay. So, what would I aspire to create or be experiencing in each of these areas? And that one really gets people, because a lot of people haven't really stopped and thought about that in a very, very long time. But we get to choose.
Mm-hmm.
There
That's
you are.
hope
I'm
with a
sorry.
compass. So, yeah, I was saying that, that's hope with a compass. So many of us just need to hear that we are not broken, just out of alignment, right?
I really think that we are. And, I can, um, I'll give you a really simple example. Because a lot of people, if you've done personal development, they have that little wheel of life, and they say if things are out of balance, if one area, you rate each area of your life, and if they're not equal, then it creates a bumpy ride. And I don't exactly believe that, because sometimes when you ask someone, and this is always a great example, I think, if you ask someone how fulfilled they are in their career, they may not be that fulfilled. But then when you really start talking to them about it, are they, right? Because what are they gauging that fulfillment against? Are they gauging that fulfillment against what society believes should be a good career, or what we believe, right? So we could have a job that's maybe not in bigger terms of how culture defines it, of being extraordinarily successful. But for us, it's regular hours. It gives a sufficient amount of income. It allows us to have the time to dedicate to other things that we love, or, our hobby of painting or photography or whatever we do. So when we start to look at it from a different perspective, we have to understand the whys behind it, right? Like, why did you give it that score? And whose measures are you using to score it, right? Because it's not always ours. So sometimes just that simple mind shift of saying, wow, I actually really do love my job, right? Because it provides so much balance and comfort in my life in so many other ways, where we may be feeling that pressure from outside sources, be that family or whoever, that's like, your career is going nowhere. You should do this. You should do that. And we get to define, as I said earlier, what we do for ourselves. It's not anybody else.
Absolutely. Stacy, you reminded us tonight that joy isn't a luxury, it's a natural state when we're aligned with who we truly are, right? We don't need to escape our life to elevate you. We just need to find our own map and follow it with heart. Healthy mind,
Yes.
whole heart, joyful life. Start drawing your map today. This is Inner Peace, Better Health. And Stacie, I just want to take a moment to truly thank you for being here today, especially knowing that you're in, recovering from surgery and in pain. Your strength and willingness to share your insights even during a challenging time is truly inspiring. Please take care of yourself, and I wish and pray you a smooth and speedy recovery.
Thank you so very much. Yeah, it's all about mindset, right? So it's it's
Mhm.
okay. So I just have to slow down a little bit right now, and that's okay.